how many jobs has the stimulus package saved or created? The government has cooked up some numbers for us. And speaking of Cook, Peter Cook is at the White House, and he's got them. Peter?
Well, Eric, an administration official says a report later today that's going to be released by the administration will show that the stimulus has saved or created 650,000 jobs. That's as of September 30th. And again, that's based on reports from recipients of the stimulus funds, state and local governments, educational institutions, community groups. And the spending includes things like highway construction, also highway repairs, education dollars. And the official says the numbers, more importantly, back up the administration's claims. The stimulus so far has saved or created 1 million jobs in all. And the reasoning behind that, the 650,000 jobs created or saved reflect only half of the spending to date, approximately $150 billion. It's still, of course, a long way from the president's goal of 3.5 million jobs saved or created. And really the only number that really matters to a lot of Americans right now is that unemployment rate, which is still rapidly approaching 10%. But on the heels of yesterday's GDP report, the administration clearly hopes that this number today will bolster its claims that the stimulus not only helped the U.S. economy, but had it not been put in place, the situation would be much, much, much more dire. And the full report, again, going to be posted on recovery.gov later on today. These numbers, much anticipated here in Washington, they're going to add to the debate over the stimulus package. You can be sure Republicans are going to question whether or not these 650 jobs really amount to all that much, given the spending in the stimulus, $787 billion. Eric?
Well, speaking of skepticism, Peter, I don't need to tell you there have been lots of questions about just how the administration tallied these numbers up. Why don't you walk us through that a bit?
Well, yeah, that's right. And from the very start, economists have always said this is going to be very hard to calculate stimulus jobs saved in particular. There's no way to be sure that a job perhaps couldn't be saved for other reasons separate and apart from the stimulus. The Associated Press, even in the last week, raised some questions about preliminary job numbers from the White House, questioning if they had been overinflated by some of the private sector recipients of the stimulus money who'd reported back to the government. The White House has pushed back on that, saying it wasn't a fair characterization. But conservative economists, like you said, are going to question these numbers. In fact, one of them already did before these numbers were out.
This report should be taken with a great grain of salt. It is really an amazing report, because there's no way to actually prove that you're creating jobs at a time when thousands upon thousands of jobs are being lost. I just think public have to be very skeptical of what they're hearing the White House say.
Now, the White House pushes back, saying, again, these numbers are being reported by actual stimulus recipients. They've reported to the government. It's been their responsibility to do that as accurately as possible. These numbers have been verified and reviewed by folks here at the White House and the federal agencies. Deirdre, and we're going to hear more from Jared Bernstein coming up here at the White House just a little bit later.